Hey everyone, this is Tony Victory of Wolf Uncaged. Before we begin this passage, I figured it would be nice to begin by including the notes from Robert Butts preceding the actual passage. Hopefully this will give more context to what they mean by the pendulum in this passage, and also it might be quite interesting to know what was going on during the inner dictation. So without further ado, this is Robert Butts speaking. Jane said that she had really been out during her trance and that now she felt almost drunk with exhilaration. The Times noted as she delivered the material showed that she'd marched along at a good pace. On the one hand, she continued, looking a little bleary. I could go way under and deliver the book until morning. Or I could just go to bed and conk right out. She was quite curious about the reasons behind these feelings. I now described an effect that had started to bother me after the session had begun. It's a good little example of the way beliefs can work. No sooner had Seth come through than I became aware of an unaccustomed tightness in my writing hand, a tension that interfered with the automatic formation of the letters and words. I kept the notes going by making an extra effort, but I found it quite distracting to keep thinking about the mechanics of writing while trying to concentrate upon what Seth was saying. The difficulty persisted through the delivery and into break. I told Jane I'd thought of using the pendulum after the session to get at the cause of the hand phenomenon, since I didn't want to interrupt book dictation by asking Seth about it. Briefly, for those who have asked me, the pendulum is a very old method. I use it with excellent results to obtain the ideomotor subconscious responses about knowledge that lies just outside my usual consciousness. I hold a small, heavy object suspended by a thread so that it is free to move. By mentally asking questions, I obtain yes or no answers according to whether the pendulum swings back and forth or from side to side. As we talked about our individual hang-ups, Jane said that we had a choice. We could get material on them or continue with the book work. Both channels were available from Seth complete. Although we wanted dictation to continue, we were also interested in learning more about our own personal questions. Feeling somewhat guilty, we opted for the latter course. But as the material unfolded, we were glad we'd done so. So this was written during Jane's break. Jane's break has now ended. It is 10:20 p.m. And now we resume with the conversation between Robert Butts and Seth. Let's begin. Now, this is your information. First of all, it is within your conscious mind. The pendulum would be a method of allowing you to view conscious material that is not structured to recognize beliefs. I want you to understand that, for the reader does not have the benefit of my talking to him personally in this way. The belief is conscious. You are well aware of it, but you are not aware of those that cling to it. The belief is that you do not communicate well with your mother. Robert Butts replied, Seth was quite correct. Talk about seeing the proverbial light. Suddenly I saw the belief had been right there all the time. Remember that Jane and I had spent the weekend visiting my mother and brother, etc. Seth continues, hinged to this is the belief that this felt lack of communication is wrong, and that for anything wrong, you should be punished. In taking dictation for this book, you were helping us communicate with many people, while at the same time, you feel you cannot communicate with your own parent. These beliefs working together, then, bring about a strain in the hand that does the writing. Quite simply, you want to express through the sessions these ideas in which you so believe. and yet you feel or believe yourself guilty for doing so when you cannot describe the same ideas to your own parent. The conflicting beliefs then cause difficulty in the method. The hands motion is not as automatically smooth as it should be. You also believe that you communicate through writing far better than you do verbally. To Rupert, you often write notes, saying things easily and beautifully that you find difficult verbally because of your belief. Robert Butts replies, yes. So this evening, you feel guilty in reaching others through transcribing the notes when you believe that you could not reach your mother vocally. So the method becomes involved with your beliefs. I'm giving this to you to show how your beliefs work. Robert Butts replies, I need the help too. Seth continues, you also believe, if you wish, you can underline every believe when I'm talking to you, that your main method of communication is painting. And here you are taking those as a form of dissemination instead. This would not be involved particularly were it not for the fact of two subsidiary concurrent beliefs that conflict having to do with the weekend. One, that you should be in Rochester, as you were, dealing vocally with your mother. And two, that you should have been here, reading out to the world at large through your painting. Instead, on your return, you are communicating to the world through your notes, a choice you made consciously, but without being aware of the other contents of your conscious mind and the conflicting beliefs. Do you follow me? Robert Butts replies, yes. These mentioned beliefs are obvious enough when I tell you of them, but their opposing natures gave confusing data to the body consciousness. Right and do not right. The idea of punishment, the belief in it, also enters in. You do what you decided to do anyway. Have the session. But by punishing yourself with your own personal interpretation, your mother's condition, you believe, involves a lack of communication. Your brother told you about her occasionally faltering speech. Now your quite conscious interpretation of an apt kind of self-punishment was a lack of hand motion. I'm trying to put this simply so you can follow the connections. Because you believe your method of expression is primarily through your hand in painting, and you believe your mother to be vocal, you tampered with your hand's motion, not, for example, your speech. Can you follow that consciously? Robert Butts replies, yes, and it was very well put, I thought, as I wrote. Now, at various times, you made those conscious choices. They escaped your notice, but they existed as conscious points of awareness and choice. Now, do you have any questions? Robert Butts replies, no, I just like time to think about all of this. This is the end of part 3 of chapter 4. Seth speaks, the nature of personal reality. Let's talk a bit about it. So, in this passage, Seth is conveying the idea that the reader has certain conscious beliefs that are affecting their ability to communicate effectively. One of the main beliefs is that they do not communicate well with their mother. That would be Robert Butts. This belief is tied to a feeling of guilt and a sense that they should be punished for their perceived communication shortcomings. Seth explains that these conflicting beliefs are causing difficulty in Robert Butts' method of communication, particularly in his writing. You see, Robert believes that he communicates better through his writing than verbally, and this belief further complicates their communication issues. Additionally, there are conflicting beliefs related to Robert's choices, such as whether he should be in Rochester, dealing with his mother vocally, or reaching out to the world through painting, or writing the material. Finally, and ultimately, these conflicting beliefs are causing inner turmoil and affecting Robert's ability to express himself effectively. I'm sure we've all experienced these inner conflicts and experienced similar results. So what did you think about this reading? Leave it in the comments below. It was a little bit of a different style, sort of conversational. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, and until the next time, I'm Tony Victory, a wolf uncaged. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you.